Welcome to the OJP TFSC live discussion webinar on JustGrants and ASAP. So let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping and tips. This live discussion webinar is being hosted by the OJP TFSC Office for Justice Programs. If you have any technical issues during this session, please contact OJP TFSC at usdoj.gov. You can access the informational brochure and the FAQs with the links provided in the chat. To ask a question during this session, please use the chat box on the right-hand side of your Zoom window. And so we're actually going to try out the chat function right now. So just post in the chat, what was the last thing you had for breakfast? So in order to have the most accurate attendance, please use the chat box to tell us the number of people joining you on the session, including yourself. Everything except for the Q&A discussion will be recorded today, and live captions are available during the session. And you can access those by clicking the link in the chat I provided earlier. Since your feedback is so important to us, at the end of the webinar, we'll provide a survey link so you can give us a little bit of feedback. Before we begin, let's go over a couple of Zoom tips. So on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see a microphone icon. To mute yourself, just click that icon. And when you see a red slash, that's how you know you're muted. If you're not speaking today, please ensure you mute yourself just to avoid any background noise or any interruptions. To the right of that icon, you'll see a video icon. Just click that to start your video and click it again. You see the red slash. That's how you know you muted your video isn't showing. To the right of all of those icons, you see a chat icon like in the middle. You click that to open up your chat to the right-hand side of your screen. And that's how you communicate with everyone on the platform today. And also on the top right-hand side of your Zoom window, you can change your viewing experience. So we can go with the speaker view where you can see just who's speaking at the time, or you can go with the gallery view where you can see a grid of everyone who is on at the time. So let's meet our presenters. Our first presenter is Crystal McNeil-Wright. She's an associate CFO for the Grants Financial Management Division in the Office of Justice Programs, and she brings more than 30 years of leadership and management experience. Crystal is also a published author on a book of parenting. We'll also have Stacy Kernison joining us today. She's a training specialist for the Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management for the Office of Justice Programs. And Stacy creates and delivers engaging training materials, facilitates formal and informal learning experiences, including traditional e-learning, micro-learning, and instructor-led trainings. Also joining us today is Lisa Hartman. She's a training specialist for the Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management for the Office of Justice Programs. And Lisa is currently working with the JustGrants team to produce training materials and facilitate training and demonstrations of the JustGrants system. We'll also have Kiana Taishira. She's a financial systems analyst for the Financial Systems Support Division with the Office of the Chief Financial Officer. Kiana is currently managing the ASAP system for the DOJ along with her team. We'll also have Francis Mendez, and he's our project director for the OJP TFSC. Francis has a background in law, social work, and business administration. We'll also have Nicole Zamora-Nisbet. Nicole is a financial specialist for the OJP TFSC, serving the American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Last and certainly not least, we'll have Russ Bermejo. Russ is a senior training and technical assistant specialist for the OJP TFSC. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Crystal McNeil-Wright.
Thank you so much, Jamil. Can you all hear me okay? Well, thank you so much again, Jamil. I am currently sitting outside. It is I wanted to welcome everybody. I am the Associate CFO for the Grants Financial Management Division here at the Office of Justice Programs. And we're so excited to accommodate you and bring you a training that would meet your needs and allow you to attend and not have any hassle with getting in and registration. I understand that's sometimes an issue when accessing OJP trainings. So we are grateful that you joined us today. I want to go ahead and let you know what we'll be talking about today. So we'll be giving you the welcome, obviously, and then we're going through JustGrants, and then we'll provide a Q&A session there where you'll be able to ask all of your burning questions. Also, we'll just have an ASAP presentation and have a Q&A there. And then we're just going to do an open Q&A and discussion. I know there's has been a lot of challenges with both of these systems, but we have put together this presentation to be able to assist you with all of those things that you've been being challenged with. So we're hope we're able to answer your questions. I am going to now turn it over to Stacy, who is going to conduct the JustGrants presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Stacy Kernison, and I am with the JustGrants training team. So Lisa's going to pull up our presentation for us so we can get started. Like I said, I also have Lisa Hart with me today, who will help present and show some demos throughout the session. So the purpose of our discussion today is to learn more about JustGrants and to address some of the questions that you all may have. We want to ensure that you're off to a great start and you have the tools that you need to utilize JustGrants. So today we are going to go over the grant award modifications, which are also known as GAMs, financial reporting, performance reporting, and lastly, where to go for help. So let's get right into talking about the grant award modifications, or GAMs. A GAM is created to update award details, but is used only to modify a key fact or detail about the award. JustGrants focuses on true modifications to an award. It is not used for the more routine updates that used to happen. So there are three types of GAMs: a project period extension, programmatic, and financial. A programmatic GAM is used to update changes in project scope or to gain prior approval for changes with programmatic costs and activities as determined by the DOJ Financial Guide. Financial GAMs are used to modify budget details or approve a budget that was received a conditional clearance when awarded. There are three types of financial GAMs: budget modification, sole source, and budget reduction. GAMs are all started in the same basic way, but each has specific fields and subtypes depending on the information needed for the specific type of GAM. Users can enter information in the GAM, save it, and then return later to complete and submit. Once a GAM is submitted, DOJ will review it and send you a notification of either approved, denied, or change requested. So as I stated, the purpose of a GAM is to update your award details. So again, JustGrants focuses on that true modification to an award. A user can delete a GAM before submitting it, and once deleted, it appears in a completed GAMs list as a resolved deleted GAM. After a GAM is submitted, it needs to be change requested from the DOJ reviewer to then be withdrawn by the initiator. Here are some of the things that are no longer processed as GAMs. Before, an entity would use a GAN to change the grant award administrator or the authorized representative, but now the entities will manage their own users and the entity information within Diamond. Also, entities used to have to process a GAN to release holds on a fund. Now that happens in a different area of JustGrants without needing a GAN. So now I'm going to turn it over to Lisa to walk us through a few demos about GAMs.
Thanks so much, Stacy. I appreciate all the information leading up to the demonstration. So I'm going to show you two short demos today about GAMs. First, I'm going to show you how to initiate any type of GAM. After that, I'm going to show you how to do a particular type of GAM, in this case, the budget modification GAM. So in the interest of time today, we're only going to show you one. However, on our training website, which we'll introduce to you at the end of the program, we actually have e-learning videos on working with every type of GAM. So I'm going to go ahead and set off the demo here. This is the GAM, the Grant Award Modification section of a funded award. And as you can see, we've opened up here, we have a GAM selection option, and this is where you'll choose the type of GAM. So again, the options are financial GAM, a programmatic GAM, or project period extension. So if you select the financial GAM, then you get a second drop-down allowing you to change the subtype. And again, for financial, we have budget modification, budget reduction, or sole source approval. For programmatic GAM, we have a second subtype. And again, we have programmatic costs and scope change GAM. And then finally, for the project period extension GAM, there is no subtype because it is its own sort of entity. And notice in this case, the project period extension grant award modification, or GAM, can only be created by a DOJ grant manager if you're less than 30 days to the project period end date. Other than that, you would be able to submit these GAMs on your own. So having looked at that, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next demo, which is, again, the budget modification award GAM. So in this case, the budget modification GAM is a financial GAM. So when we select the GAM type, we're going to select financial. And again, that will open our subtype options, and we're going to select the budget modification GAM. Once we've selected both a type and a subtype, then the Create New GAM button there on the left is going to be activated and will allow you then to go ahead and initiate this grant award modification. So when we click Create New GAM, it's going to show us all of the fields for this particular type of GAM. So for budget modification, you notice we have the approved budget figures here in the left column for each budget category. And we have the revised budget, which is editable on the right. So what we're going to do is we're going to move $5,000 of costs from other costs, procurement contracts, keeping our amount the same in this case. But notice that JustGrants did the requested change calculation for you. In this particular case, there is also the opportunity to update match amounts, the program income amount. This is all going to be determined based on the requirements of your solicitation and how your award is created. And again, we have the DOJ financial guide link on indirect costs right there in the center of the page. So if you need guidance from that document, you can open it straight up. You will enter a justification, and you can also upload an indirect cost rate agreement if you need to, or any other financial GAM documentation prior to submitting. So at the bottom, we have the option here to provide comments that will be viewed by the grant manager. So you would just type your comments in and click the add button. Oops, that always goes so fast. But I did want to show you the other button options here. So once we scroll down, I'm going to stop the demo. So as you can see that we have a cancel button in the bottom left, and that will cancel the creation of this GAM before you really get started. And it will remove any information you may have entered. So we'll set it back to the state that it was prior to you initiating a GAM. If you've initiated a GAM and you have not yet submitted it, you can delete the GAM. Now, it will still keep a record of the fact that you began and deleted a GAM, but it will essentially close it out, and it will become sort of a completed record indicating that you deleted the GAM. And as Stacey mentioned, you can enter information about the GAM, click the Save button, and if you're not prepared to submit right now, you can come back again later, open up this GAM, and continue to work on it. When you're ready to submit, however, it will send that GAM off to your grant manager for review. And again, they will either approve it, deny it, or change request it. So when it's in the pending approval status, then it's with your grant manager. So that having been said, I'm going to go ahead and let Stacey tell you again what to then expect once you've submitted a GAM. So Stacey?
Thank you. So once a GAM is submitted, it is sent to your grant manager for approval. The grant manager can deny the GAM or return it to you as a change request. If the grant manager approves the GAM, it is sent forward through an internal review process. The internal review varies based on the type of GAM and the managing office. If a GAM is approved, denied, or change requested during the internal review process, both the grantee and the grant manager receives notification. Once the GAM has been approved, it is sent to the financial system or ASAP to update the award information. And at that point, it can take up to 24 hours to update your funded award with the final information. So now let's talk a little bit about financial reporting. So your financial manager is the person who focuses on your finances related to the grant. They're able to certify and submit financial information and complete all FFRs on behalf of your organization. An award must have a financial manager assigned to submit FFRs and must have a grant award administrator to submit closeouts and performance reports. If you are used to completing the SF425, and you will find that the web-based FFR in JustGrants is modeled after the structure of the OMB standard form. Financial managers may submit a federal financial report or FFRs 10 calendar days or less from the reporting period end date until the due date. Once the due date passes, financial managers will continue to be able to submit a delinquent report. When it comes to editing and resubmitting an already submitted quarterly FFR, the financial manager can reopen the most recent report if the due date has not passed and can resubmit the quarterly FFR. Financial managers can reopen and resubmit a final FFR up to 90 days after the project period end date. Entity users must contact their awarding office to reopen and resubmit a final FFR beyond 91 days after the award end date. Funds are frozen 1 day after the due date if the report is not submitted. Funds are released once the delinquent FFR is submitted. JustGrants will collect the FFR and communicate with ASAP to lock out a grantee if the report is delinquent in submission. So here is a visual of the FFR reporting periods, which happen for each quarter along with their corresponding due date. So please note that if the FFR is not submitted in time, then these are the dates where the funds will become frozen. So you can take a quick screenshot of that if you would like. But you'll have access to this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to print off the slides. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa so she can walk us through the FFRs.
All right, thanks again, Stacy. So let me go ahead and run through a little demo on how to submit an FFR. So as you're looking at the homepage here in JustGrants, I'm logged in as the financial manager. Again, the financial manager is the only role that will be able to access and submit an FFR. So if you are the financial manager, any federal financial reports that are upcoming are going to appear here in your work list. And you'll recognize them as beginning with F- and then the case ID for that financial report. And you can also see the case type field here. So we're going to go ahead and click the link to open the FFR. And as you can see from the top, there are actually 3 sections to the FFR. The first is recipient info. And this information comes from your SAM.gov account. None of this is editable. If you need to change something, you'll need to go back to the SAM.gov account and make that change. But as it is here, it's just displaying so that you can verify that you've got the correct grant number and all the other information is accurate. So you can click the continue button at the bottom, or you can click the section header at the top, either way, and it will move you to the second section. And this is the report information section. So the recipient account number is actually a number you can use for your own internal tracking system. So whatever, tracking system you have internally, you can locate this account by putting in that number. You've got the report type. It's going to default to the report type that it is based on the date and the project period end date. You'll want to leave that quarterly unless you really do need to change this to final. I wouldn't change that unless you had a darn good reason, unless you were really actually, this was going to be your final and you were closing out early. Basis of accounting is either cash or accrual. And then you'll see as we scroll down, you'll see the grant period, the project begin and end date listed, and then below that, the reporting period for this particular report. So you can see, you can see that information here, and it's not editable. There's a new report created for each reporting period. So you can't change the reporting period and make this another report. These reports are generated automatically prior to the reporting period end date. DOJ doesn't use the federal cash field, so you see those are grayed out. And then below that section, we'll have federal expenditures and unobligated balance information. And it should be stated here that all of these numbers that you're going to enter here are cumulative. This is a change from legacy systems, most legacy systems, but they are cumulative entries, so that's important to know. If you see the little red asterisk to the left of that field, you must enter something in this field. So we're going to go ahead and enter the federal share of expenditures here. And we're going to go ahead and fill out all of these fields. And notice that as you're filling this out, all of the uneditable fields below are being calculated by JustGrants, so you don't have to worry about all of that. As you scroll down, again, you're going to want to fill in all of the required fields. If there has been no change or if there is nothing to enter, then you can enter 0, as long as that is the cumulative total for your award. Continuing down, we have the program income field, and so we'll go ahead and enter that here. And I think I'm going to move forward in the interest of time a little bit, because we want to make sure that we take a look then at the indirect expenses as well. So the indirect expenses down here at the bottom will allow you to add as many lines of indirect expense as you need. You'll click that plus add item link, and that will add 1 row. And so you can then go ahead and select the type of rate. You can enter the rate percentage. You can enter the project period from and period to related to this indirect expense. And you can either use the calendar to select a date, or you can type the date in the field, whichever you prefer. Okay. Or you can copy and paste the date if you happen to have it open somewhere on a form. We'll enter the base total for this line. And that will then be multiplied by the rate to provide the amount charged automatically. And then if there's a federal share amount to be entered, you can enter the federal share. So again, you can add as many lines here into the federal financial report indirect expense section as needed. If you make a mistake on the line, you just have to click on any field in that line and then click the X delete link, and it will remove it. So the last section, the remarks and certification section, allows you to put additional information in a text field here at the top. The section 12 is typically not required unless there are some validations that make this required. If this becomes a required field due to report validations, you'll get a message saying you must enter something in section 12. So you come back and enter something in section 12 that satisfies that validation. As you scroll down, notice you can upload supporting documents, and you just choose the file and submit that, and it becomes part of the FFR. And then again, at the very bottom, before we submit, we're going to take a look at the certification section. So it will default to today's date, and it will also default to your name and email address as the submitter. And the green bar tells you that the case has been routed appropriately. It also tells you the FFR is in pending UFMS status. This is normal. UFMS is the DOJ accounting software, and it needs to process through UFMS before it reaches the approval stage. So it should be in pending UFMS for about 24 hours, and after that, it will move on to be approved. So that is the FFR. So I'll go ahead and move forward and turn this back over to Stacey to tell us what happens once the FFR has been submitted.
Thanks, Lisa. So once you submit your FFR, you will see that it is in pending UFMS status. The FFR is automatically routed to the United Financial Management System, UFMS, for validation prior to being sent to the Office of Chief Financial Officer for review. If the FFR is delinquent and funds withheld, The hold will be released within 24 hours of approval. So just know that sometimes some people have reported that the FFR status may get stuck in pending UFMS for more than 48 hours or even days. And if that is the case with you, please contact JustGrants so that they can help you with that situation. So if your organization has had funds withheld and you have satisfied the conditions to have the withholding removed, your grant manager will initiate the process to remove the withholding. Once they initiate the removal of withholding amounts, the update is sent to ASAP upon DOJ approval. ASAP will typically release the funds within 24 hours of receiving the update, and you should be able to draw down your funds again at that point. So now let's take a little bit of time to talk about performance reporting within JustGrants. So JustGrants is now a seamless process for financial and performance reporting. Performance reports are completed and submitted by the entity grant award administrator. You are notified when performance reports are ready for submission. They can be opened, edited, and submitted from your homepage or from within a funded award. Once submitted, your grant manager is notified and the reports are reviewed by DOJ personnel. And here's just a snapshot of some of the functions that make JustGrants more seamless throughout the process. So on the screen, you will see a table that highlights general quarterly, semi-annual, and annual calendar dates for performance reporting throughout the grant award lifecycle. This provides you with a general schedule for performance reports, frequency, and due dates. So now let's take a moment and review the demonstration for performance reports. And Lisa, it looks like we have enough time to go through the whole demonstration. So if you want to just go ahead and go through, we can do that.
All right, thanks so much, Stacey. It would be also kind of informational for us to determine, how everyone here has been submitting their performance reports. So there are two methods to submit performance reports, and I'm wondering which of you upload a file that's created in another system, like PMT or some other system, and which of you enter performance measures directly into a JustGrants question set. This will give us a little bit of information about, how you're processing these. Looks like it's about 50-50 right now. Well, all right. So it looks like about 2/3 of you are using the JustGrants question set, while 1/3 of you are uploading a file created in another system. So that actually makes a lot of sense because the uploading the file from another system is a method that has been used in the past. And the performance measures directly in JustGrants is something new with JustGrants, and allows us to track those performance measures very nicely, but it is something that we're still sort of ramping up in various different awards. So that having been said, let's go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate both methods for submitting performance reports. So the performance reports appear in your work list if you are the grant award administrator. Again, that is the only role that will be able to submit performance reports, not the alternate, not the financial manager, but the performance reports are submitted by the grant award administrator. And that person will see the performance reports for their assigned awards in their work list. So here you see a list of items in the work list. The case ID PR-whatever is going to be the performance report. You can also go ahead and see the case type performance report. So we'll take a look at that. The first selection that we're going to do is submitting a third-party report that was created outside of JustGrants into JustGrants as a performance measure. So I'm going to move this forward a bit because there we go. We'll click that one. And as you can see, we've opened up this performance report. At the top, you'll see the solicitation title, the project period, the managing office, the DOJ grant manager, and the grant award administrator. And the person listed as the grant award administrator, again, is the only person that will be able to submit this award. Others can view it. So we see the start and end date and the due date for this performance report, and you can see that there's both a regular and a final option. The system will automatically default to either regular or final based on the project period end date and the current date at the end of the performance report. You are able to change a regular performance report to final. However, be cautious with this, because once you change this to final, you're going to have to get somebody from support to help you to change it back if that's not what you wanted to do. So please read the messages here. Confirm if you want to change it to final. You would not be able to change that back on your own. So we're going to leave this as regular. We'll scroll down. The next section shows complete performance measure question set. If there's nothing in there, then the expectation is that you will upload an Excel file or a PDF of some sort with the performance measure information in there. The next demonstration will actually be with a question set there. But for right now, we're uploading the external report. You can put in any comments that you might want to communicate with this performance report, and these will be visible to your grant manager, so it's worthwhile. So when you put in comments, as we're doing here, you can type what you need to say. And in order to save those, we'll scroll down, and there's a save button sort of down at the bottom of this performance report page. So when we click save, then our comments, we always get bumped right back to the top when we click save, but you can see the comments there in the comments history section. Now, uploading that third-party report will be here, and you can upload a PDF. Typically, I believe it's the PDF in most cases that you're looking for, but you want to talk to your grant manager for specific guidance. So I'm just uploading sort of a random PDF from my computer. You can change the name that's used, but you can't change the file name of this report. If you've already uploaded a performance report with the file name, you're going to have to change the file name if you want to upload a second option. And then that category must be performance report in order for this to be processed as a performance report. So once that file is uploaded, you can cancel what you've done, and that will again remove anything you've done and sort of reset this report to where it was when you logged in. You can upload another document if you need to. You can save this performance report and come back later to submit if you're still sort of waiting on information, or you can submit this performance report. And if you do click the submit button, then it's going to go off to your grant manager for approval and review. So there we are, and you can see we submitted this late, so it's this performance report is delinquent, which will likely potentially cause a hold on funds. But once the performance report has been uploaded, it takes about 24 hours for the system to, reestablish your connection to those funds. So now the next performance report that we're going to do is this other type of submission with the JustGrants performance measures, including what we call a question set within the performance report in JustGrants. So we'll go ahead and select an appropriate performance report. And one of the things you'll notice here is that in the question set section, you see that there is actually a link to a question set. In this case, you must process the question set in order to be in compliance with the performance report. If there's a question set presented to you, uploading a separate document is not going to satisfy JustGrants. So what you'll want to do is go ahead and click the question set link, which we'll do here in a moment. And there we go. We're going to click that question set link. And once we do that, we're going to open an option here for a task. And if you are, it's going to show the questions here. And this is kind of a pro tip. You're going to see all of the questions here in read-only view. If you'd like to print the question prior to opening up the question set, at this point, you can go up to the Actions menu in the upper right corner, and you'll select the print option, and that will print this list of questions. So that's something that you can do if you want. If you're ready to go ahead and enter information in the question set, then you're going to want to use this little begin button in the upper right corner of the screen to do that. That will open this question set in edit mode. So here we are. So this particular question set has 5 sections, and each section has its own set of questions to fill in. So I'm just going to let this run a little bit and show that, you can answer these radio buttons. Typically they're yes, no. This is just an example of one question set. This will very likely not be the set of questions you'll be answering, but it's important to know how these work. You've got the check boxes there, which allows you to select more than one entry for a question, and you've got text boxes. Now we're in section 2, we hit the continue button, and I want to show you that sometimes your answer in one field will open up a second field. This sort of branching question will continue forward, and you can see at the end of these questions a little red asterisk, which indicates that these fields are required in order to be able to submit. So you can either click continue or you can click the next section. If you click continue, you'll move through the question set one section at a time in order. If you click the section headers, you can bounce around within the sections as you choose. So we've got also drop-down menu options here. We're just going to go ahead and, answer all of these questions. They're all required. And then down here at the bottom, we can again use the check boxes to select multiple entries for this question. So we'll do that. All right, we can select then again continue, or we can go up to the top and we can move forward using the section headers. So in this case, we're going to have another sort of a drop-down menu, which will then open up additional questions to be answered within this set. Some date fields, you have, some fields are, validated. They have to be numbers. Some have to be in particular formats. And if there's an entry that you've made that does not fit the validation, you'll see a message that indicates what you should be doing. And then finally, we have these narrative questions here at the end. And you can either type directly in the field, or if you've answered these questions elsewhere, you can copy and paste them into these fields as you need. So I'm going to go ahead and move this forward. And I want you to notice, first of all, that one of the things that happened on the last section is that the submit button in the bottom right-hand corner now says finish. And I want to be very clear about the fact that it does not say submit. When you click the finish button, you've finished entering information into the question set, but you have not submitted the performance report. And this is kind of a source of confusion for some folks. So finish and submit are not the same thing. So once we finish with the question set, we will click that finish button and indicate that we have finished entering everything in our question set. And now you can actually go back and print the questions with the answers that you provided if you choose to. We're going to go ahead and close the question set. And now here we are back in the performance report screen. So the question set may be finished. Once we refresh, notice that we can reopen that question set if we want to go back and change our answers. But this performance report is still, the status at the top still says new. It does not say submitted. You can still add comments. You can still upload associated files. But once you click submit, you have to submit that performance report. And now it will show the status pending review. And that's the status that you want to see in a submitted performance report. So I just wanted to make sure that that whole piece was kind of clear. We've answered that question a few times. So now that having been said, Stacey, I'm going to turn this back over to you, and you can explain, as you do so well, what to expect with the approval process after performance report's been submitted.
Sure. Thanks again. So once the performance report has been submitted, it is routed to your grant manager. And currently there is no way to change request a performance report in JustGrants. So your grant manager will communicate with you by email if additional information is requested. Once the grant manager approves the performance report, it will continue through the DOJ internal review and approval process. The grant manager or reviewer only has the option for approval of the performance report. Again, if additional information is required from the grant award administrator, the request for additional information will need to be made outside of JustGrants and resolved by uploading attachments. Once all additional information has been provided, the grant manager or reviewer will select the approve button to resolve the performance report. So currently, the deliverables section is included in the performance management tab, but allows you to view all deliverables associated with the award conditions, monitoring issues, GAMs, and other features. Deliverables are classified according to the category type selected for the file when you're uploading it. So to upload a document to JustGrants, navigate to the Performance Management tab in the Funded Award section and click on the Add Attachment button in the Deliverables section to begin. You're either going to drag and drop the file or use a Select File button to locate the file. Once the attachment is located, you're going to select the Open button. You're then going to select the deliverable category, which is important, and you're going to enter a comment indicating the nature of the deliverable. If it applies to a performance report or is in response to a monitoring issue, be sure to provide information indicating to which issue or performance report deliverable is associated. Award compliance deliverables have a separate category, and the comment should reflect the condition to which it is associated. Once the deliverable has been uploaded, it appears in the deliverable section with the link to open the document. All users with access to the funded award are able to view the deliverable. This applies to users within your organization, as well as your grant manager and other DOJ personnel that are a part of the review and approval process. So we've given you a lot of information. So now we're going to share a wealth of resources to help you as you continue navigating through JustGrants. So here are a few tools to help you get started. So you want to make sure that you're checking your emails for updates and information about JustGrants. Whenever the system has an update or if there is an issue going on, there's always an email that is sent out. If you're not getting these emails, if you go to the link on the bottom of the screen, which is justicgrants.usdoj.gov, and you go to the click, and you're going to click on the news and update section, it will bring you to a place where you can put your email in, where you can sign up for these emails. And they're very helpful to help you as things happen with the system and changes happen. The link that I also mentioned brings you to all the information that you see here on the screen, from checklist on how to get started, training materials and videos, again, the news and updates, FAQs, the about section, and of course, our user support. And one of the questions that we receive a lot of the times is there going to be more training? Are you guys going to do more training? Well, we have created a lot of information on our training page for JustGrants. We have everything there from videos to printouts that you can just have alongside you as you go through this step. So take the time to go through the training tabs. It's broken out by topic and it goes in the flow of the grant lifecycle. So please check the training page if you need more assistance in training as you go along. So if you're experiencing any difficulties with grants.gov or SAM.gov, you should contact the grants.gov customer support hotline or a SAM help desk, which is the Federal Service Desk, to report the technical issue or receive a technical tracking number. Applicants experiencing difficulties with JustGrants should contact the JustGrants support desk at justgrants.support@usdoj.gov. or 833-872-5175. They are available Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, Sunday, and federal holidays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Standard Eastern Time. And some of the links in chat and the information are also being put into the chat, so you guys have access to that as well. So if you ever reach out to the help desk, though, try to make sure you have a lot of information or as much information as you have as possible in order to give that to the help desk. Everything from DUNS number to your application number, the date and time you're having the issue, a screenshot of your page, whatever you can give can help the help desk help you. I see in the chat someone saying that the 833 number doesn't work from where you are. Then I would shoot an email. Sometimes email is better because of the fact that it creates a tracking number as soon as you send the email over. So if phone number doesn't work, email is the best option. So here are a few more resources that are linked within the PowerPoint from our FAQs, grants.gov, sam.gov, and of course the JustGrants training support email. And we also have additional resources. All of these that are linked here are within our training page that I showed you earlier. It's just a quick link here within the PowerPoint so that you have it. But everything from our roles matrix, which breaks down each role, how to set up your entity, grant award modifications, financial reporting, performance reporting, all the things that we talked about today are available on our training site for you to have as a resource as you go through the system. So thank you very much for listening to our Just Grants section, and I will turn it back over.
Oh, thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Stacy, for all that information. So actually, Kiana is not able to join us this evening. So in place of her, Francis Mendez, the project director for the TFC, is going to be providing some information using her slides. So Francis, thank you for doing that, and I'm going to take it away, and I can advance the slides for you.
Sure. Thank you, Russ. All right. So I'm presenting on behalf of Kiana. She wasn't able to join us today. So I am presenting on ASAP. ASAP, the automated standard application for payment system, as you know, has replaced the old GPRS, the grants payment request system, in order to simplify the federal grantee payment user. So ASAP allows organizations like Acme Grantee to draw federal funds securely from pre-authorized accounts established by an agency like DOJ program offices. So through ASAP, you can receive your funding during the same or next business days. And since ASAP is used by many government agencies, you can leverage one single ASAP profile to access funds from a range of agencies, which saves you time in creating new accounts and learning new systems. So we get a lot of questions about, the creation of accounts and recipient users and roles. So as you can see, there's an initial point of contact, and that user role can help designate all the other roles and create additional users. And yes, you can have one person have multiple roles. And as you can see, there's different functions based on the role that you have. All right, so the first step in the process is you want to be able to create a username and a password, right? So when you register as a point of contact, you're going to get an email with your username, right? And a link to create a new password, which has a temporary password. So once you change your password, right, you use that temporary password, you create your own, then you can log into asap.gov. So once you have your enrollment complete, this is when the banking validation occurs and the federal agency will create your account to authorize funding. You'll get a notification link that will inform when the funds are authorized. And anytime that DOJ processes an authorization increase or decrease transaction, you're going to get a notification. So how do recipients draw funds, right? So the first thing is you initiate a payment request, and then the agency is going to review that payment request, and they either approve it or reject it, right? So once that's approved, you're going to get your payment. And like I said previously, it could be the same day or next business day. So how do you initiate that payment request? Well, you log into the system. And as you can see from the screenshot, you put your mouse over the payments request tab, and then you scroll down and you click on initiate payment request. So once you do that, you're going to select the bank relationship or payment request template. Then you're going to enter the payment request type. And then you're going to enter the payment method, whether FedWire for same-day settlement or ACH for the next business day. Okay, so then as part of specifying the payment information, you're also going to enter your requested settlement date and the requested reference number. This allows users to identify this request, and then you select continue. To retrieve accounts, you're going to verify your recipient ID, you verify the ALC region, and then you enter your account ID. This is a unique identifier for the federal agency's ASAP account that is established during enrollment, and then you select continue. So how do you review and submit a request? Well, you enter the amount requested, you verify the total amount requested, and then you select continue, as you can see from the screen. Then to review the payment request, you select submit. And this will show you that there's been a payment request confirmed. It provides a visual confirmation. It shows you available balance changes, and you can select printer friendly to print out a copy that you can save or print out. To do a payment request inquiry, you put your mouse over the inquiries tab and you select payment request status inquiry. This is also another useful way to do a report to see all account balances. So to enter the inquiry criteria, again, you put the ALC region, you enter the requester ID, you enter the payment request date, the from and through dates, select format, and then continue. And to retrieve the results, you put the mouse over the inquiries tab and select retrieve results. And then you can view the inquiry results by selecting the link in the inquiry name column to open, view, print, or save the inquiry. So ASAP and JustGrants are connected. JustGrants sends ASAP account creations after enrollment is complete and award is accepted, and the account is updated on a daily basis. JustGrants also calculates the ASAP available balance on a daily basis, and delinquent FFRs and progress report in JustGrants will trigger an ASAP account suspension, which means the funds are not available for drawdown in the status. So in terms of payment settlements, payment requests for all DJ accounts are suspended the last 3 business days of each month, and payment requests are not available. As you can see, during these days, ACH payments have a 5 p.m. same-day settlement. Federal wire payments have immediate same-day settlement. ACH payments have an 8 a.m. next business day settlement. And the online reports are available during those times and days. So that was my demonstration of how you create an account and the different features and inquiries and reporting in ASAP.
Right now, we're going to turn over to Francis, and he's going to basically review our resources and our summary report.
Thank you, Nicole. So thank you, everyone, for being with us this morning. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us to talk about JustGrants and ASAP. So I wanted to highlight a JustGrants and ASAP resource guide that we've developed. So we should be posting the link to that resource in the chat. And this resource is an easy and direct way to access the various materials and resources about how to, onboard and navigate these different systems. It includes links to training guides, FAQs, short videos, checklists, and infographics. So please check it out. You can access them the link. The other resource we want to highlight is that after the webinar, a couple of weeks after, we're going to send out a summary report that will kind of give you quick highlights of what were the main takeaways and the key points during the presentations. So keep an eye out for that. We hope to send that to you soon. And now I'll turn it over to Jamil to kind of close this out. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Francis. So we're coming to the end of our session, but before you leave, let's take a look at the next steps. So take a few moments to complete our webinar evaluation survey, linked in the chat below. And we really appreciate your input for the survey. So please take the time to take a look at it. To contact the Virtual Support Center or the VSC, you can email us at OJP TFSC at usdoj.gov. And a response to email inquiries usually takes about 24 hours within the next business day. You can also schedule a consultation call with the financial specialist, and those details will be provided in the chat below. And check out our website at ojp.gov/TFSC and sign up for our listserv with the details linked in the chat below. In our next event, Preparing for Success, how to prepare for desk reviews, site visits, and other monitoring activities will be held on Monday, October 4th, 2021 at 1 p.m. SST for the American Samoa, and Tuesday, October 5th at 10 a.m. CHST time for the Guam and Northern Mariana Islands. And I'll link that in the chat below for you. So at this time, does anyone have any questions before we close it out? Going once, going twice, none? Okay, so thank you all for joining today's session. Thank all the speakers for speaking today, and have a good day. You may now disconnect.